Cotney Attorneys and Consultants is dedicated to helping the construction industry with legal, business, and safety challenges. Welcome to this week's episode of Law and Mortar with John Kenny and Trent Cotney.
Hey, this is Trent Cotney, CEO of Cotney Attorneys and Consultants, and I'd like to welcome everybody to another episode of Law and Mortar. As always, I've got my partner in crime, John Kenny, here with me. John, how are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. It's nice to wrap up a very productive week and looking forward to a couple hours of relaxation time, and hope everybody out there is doing the same.
Yeah, exactly. Been a busy week. So International Roofing Expo occurred this week in Las Vegas, and we both had a couple of speaking engagements. I was on a panel with you on legal issues in a COVID-19 world. We focused a lot on materials, and I think it was well attended, well received. And then I had another one on Wednesday about top 5 issues in immigration. Same there, we talked about E-Verify, we talked about I-9s, all kinds of stuff. So a lot of great questions, a lot of great input. It was good. You had another seminar while you were there. What was that on, John?
I did one on scaling your business to economic conditions. Basically there we talked about the leadership and how to wave not only good storms, but a good wave, and how to gear yourself and be in perfect position regardless of whatever the economic conditions are out there, whether we're in a recession or a super growth period. So I think it went really well.
Yeah, and back to our panel, shout out to Ken Kelly, who is listens to this a lot, and Michelle Boykin. Ken is with Kelly Roofing, Michelle is with Rackley Roofing. Both of them doing just a tremendous job. The insight, I took notes from what they said, and I hope I'm going to implement some of the things that they've said. So really did a great job. Kudos to them. They really just top notch. So the event overall I thought was great. It was good seeing everybody. Had a lot of good interactions on the trade show floor. So looking forward to February next year. I know our next big expo coming up is we got Best of Success, and then we've got Western States after that. So looking forward to both of those. One thing that's interesting, John, is that as COVID has been heating up, the conversation and the discussion about vaccines has also heated up. A lot of issues back and forth with schools right now, hospitals, employees, employers, all those types of things. But one of the things I want to focus on is sort of a subset of vaccinations, and that is the policies that employers can use to encourage employees to get vaccinations. So I'm not talking about mandating it. I'm talking about creating voluntary incentive programs. And from a legal standpoint, I dug into it a little bit the past few days. What's interesting is you can offer an incentive to an employee to get a vaccine, right? But you can't make that incentive so enticing that it could create some kind of bias, especially in the event that a person has a disability, which they feel like they have to disclose, or it could potentially be discriminatory if for some reason someone has a religious or medical basis to not get a vaccine. So interesting law there. You want to keep your incentive, good enough incentive to encourage people to do it, but not too much. Now, the EEOC has not put out any guidance on this, okay? So you just have to kind of rely on what's out there. But oftentimes what I see is gift cards that are offered. I know we did something similar to that in our office. Why don't you kind of talk to the audience about some of the things that you're seeing, or maybe even what we've done?
Yeah, I mean, we kept it very simple. It was you had a choice of you could get if you needed time to go get it done. Of course, we obliged by that. It happens. Time off to go get a shot. But the incentive was simple. It was some sort of gift card of some sort. I don't remember the exact brand, but if you got it, you got a gift card. So it was nothing that put anybody in a bad bind. And I think probably a lot of the people that were going to go get it anyways, it was a nice afterthought that they were able to pick up doing it. And I do believe, and we're still offering it now. I mean, we'll still continue that for those that are not yet vaccinated. If they go, they still get the same thing. So it wasn't an enticement, you got to go now or else. No, it's a program. We love everybody to make their own decisions, but we also would like everybody to be health and safety. And if you do decide to get the vaccine, you get the card. I hear a lot of companies are doing that. From what I hear talking around the industries, it's usually a PTO day or it's some sort of a gift card. I haven't really heard of anything other than that. Those are the two things that I've heard are a combination of both half a day PTO and maybe a gift card on top of that. That's what I've heard out there.
Yeah, and look, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a $25, $50 gift card. And by the way, John, I'm still waiting for mine. So
Me too.
yeah. So we got a big announcement, and this came together quickly. And the reason why it came together quickly, let me just kind of set the stage, is while I was over at IRE and, both shortly before that and after that, our phones have just been inundated. Emails have been inundated with calls from customers dealing with OSHA inspections. We just seen a massive uptick in this all over the United States. And it occurred to us that we've got to get some news out there, right? We've got to be proactive and help educate the industry to the extent that we can. So we came together, we rallied the troops, and we have got a tremendous free OSHA webinar, a national webinar that we're putting on August 18th, 3 p.m. It's going to feature superstars, experts of the industry. We've got Craig Bryda, who is our national lobbyist, but also lobbies for NRCA, Tile Roofing Institute, ARMA, and many other trade associations, and is very active on the front lines of what the new OSHA regulations are going to be. We have Kevin Yarborough. Kevin Yarborough, for those of you who don't know, he was a top 5 Best to Success speaker, well-known national speaker and trainer, and former assistant area director of OSHA with 40 years plus of safety experience. John, obviously we've got you. You've got a significant amount of safety training and experience, 45 years in the industry, and you're going to talk about it from the consulting side and how to get a culture of safety going in your company. And I'm going to speak as well. I've been blessed that we've been able to publish a couple of best-selling books on Amazon, OSHA Defense for the Construction Industry and OSHA Defense Know Your Rights. So I'm going to approach it from a legal standpoint. What can you do to help defend against OSHA inspections? And we're going to do this all in an hour, John, which is a lot to cover. And not just to mention that, but anybody that attends will get the 5th edition of our OSHA Defense for Construction book, which I'm very proud of. I spent a lot of time working on it. So happy to kind of send that out. Again, our job is to help educate. So hopefully that does that. What are you looking forward to with this webinar that's coming up August 18th?
Well, I think the way that we're covering it is fantastic. We're hitting it on all aspects because, OSHA is more than just having a safety culture. It's more than just having what to do once you get an OSHA inspection. You need to know, what's going on, how OSHA's heading. So we got that covered with Craig. Kevin is got the experience of sitting on the other side of that seat and knowing how things work out and how to go about it. So you're going to get a lot of great tips. So I think we've taken all 4 corners, of that entire box and put it together and get that presentation out there. I don't think you're going to go anywhere else and be able in an hour to get that much information compacted into one spot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Kevin and Craig, yourself, John, it's a who's who of the industry for getting this information out there. So really excited about it. I know we put it together in short order, but I see that need, and I think we've got to do to kind of get it out there as quickly as we can. So, we just got it out there, and it looks like we've already got 124 people signed up. So looking forward to seeing those numbers continue to grow. John, guess what time it is, man?
Let me guess. It might be question time.
It's question time.
All
Everybody's
right.
favorite time. All right. So let me get the questions out today. As our listeners know, we always answer at least one question every single Lawn Mortar. We encourage anybody that listens to us, submit your questions. We'll answer them as we can get them. So, John, this week's question is from Anthony. Okay. And Anthony's question is, if you've got somebody that formerly worked for you and they ended up going to a competitor, what are sort of some of the do's and don'ts that you should follow as an employer? And I guess kind of reading between the lines, how should you handle somebody that is now openly competing with you that used to be one of your employees? What would you recommend, and what do you see on your end?
Okay, so from my end, I will tell you, this has always been my rule of thumb. Never, ever badmouth a former employee to anyone, okay? In other words, what I mean is, and look at this as a roofing company. If I was on a roofing company and X went over to another roofing company, it's going to come up where someone's going to see you on a meeting, or they're going to say, hey, I see so-and-so is working there. What do you think? And you know what? You say, man, when they were with me, they did a fantastic job. Glad to see them. I wish them the best. But hey, this is what we got going on. So boost yourself, never lower the other person, lift yourself to a level above them or wherever they're at without ever bringing the other person down. That's rule number one. And that's really the biggest rule, but not getting into the legalities, which I'm sure you got a long list of do's and don'ts from the legal side. But I will tell you, this is one of those instances where the highest road always wins. Now, that being said, behind the scenes, we all got that competitive nature. So you make sure that in your company, you're staying out ahead and that they haven't, they're going to know what you do, right? So what I mean by this is we're not taking competitive advantage, but sometimes they take your knowledge of your competitiveness and what you do with you. So freshen yourself up a little bit, right? You do things a certain way, just freshen it up just a touch so you're above that level again. That's my two biggest areas.
Yeah, and those are great points, John. From a legal standpoint, one of the things that you obviously got to look at is, do you have an employment agreement with this former employee? Are there, covenants or obligations in there that would prevent them from competing with you? So the obvious one is a non-compete. If, some states don't allow it, but if you do have a non-compete in there, you can prohibit this employee from directly competing against you. It's based usually on a certain amount of time, up to 2 years or less. Certain geographic location, certain type of work, but you may have other obligations in there. You may have confidentiality obligations, use of proprietary information. All those are enforceable if you decide to use them. From a common sense standpoint, I agree with you, John. It's always best to take the high road. If a former employee leaves, I wish them the best. Everybody's got to pursue their own destiny, and that's kind of how things are. The other thing I would say is that if you end up having a former employee compete against you, I love it. I love it because, personally, I am very competitive and I need that fire, right? I constantly need that fire and it inspires me, if I am a contractor that's out there and I've got a project manager that's left and I start hearing about their successes or I start hearing about things that they're doing, then it makes me want to work that much harder, right? It's the fuel to the fire. So again, always take the high road. It's never good to badmouth anybody, even if they're just horrible people. It doesn't make any sense because you always have to look at how people on the outside look at it. So great advice, John. Definitely a timely topic, especially given that we are in the turnover tsunami right now. So a lot of employees are making changes, especially in contractors, home offices, and staff. So with that, John, I'm going to end it for today, and I want to thank all of our listeners. Really appreciate you. Get the word out. We continue to remain the #1 construction law podcast in the world, and we thank you all for listening to us on a weekly basis. If there's topics you want us to discuss, you can reach out to either one of us. Reach out to me, Trent Cotney, at tcotney@cotneycl.com. John, how can they get you?
jkenny@cotneycl.com. Very easy.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and stay tuned next week for another episode of Law and Mortar.
Bye now.